to the Vermont Community Foundation for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, the DEI Work Group's grant application for funding for a Welcome Packet pilot project. And lastly, in the call it 4A category, approval of a public assemblage permit for Middlebury Tiger reunion on July 29th at the Sports Center. Those are the additions that I've been presented with. Does anybody else have any other additions?
And thanks to Dan's inquiry about the flood resiliency project, we have a special feature of Representative Amy Sheldon giving us a full report on that under citizens' comments.
Great.
Ooh.
That's good, Dan.
Oh, we had to find out if we got our money's worth out of the project in East Middlebury, and Amy would be the one who would know.
Moved and seconded.
Nothing else? All in favor of approving the agenda with the 3 additions, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we don't have any of our board dialed in, do we?
No.
Okay. Next is the consent agenda. Approval of the
You didn't?
No, go for it.
Okay, I move it as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Gonna have to get this board going a little
Yeah.
hotter here. Is there anything anybody would like to comment on in the consent agenda?
I was glad to see the subcommittees of the Energy Committee. I think that they've got good targets and a lot of good folks working there.
Okay, hearing nothing else, all in favor of approving the consent agenda as drafted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Citizen comments. Is this where we want to,
Have Susan Shashak.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
There we go.
hi, Susan?
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I just heard Kathleen say that Amy Sheldon's going to be coming on and talking about the flood resiliency project. But I just wanted to express my gratitude. It was a very different scenario from Hurricane Irene. I remember I was a water system operator during the hurricane, and when all of East Middlebury was evacuated, I was on duty with all the other emergency services out on the street, and it was really difficult to see the water come down and infiltrate my entire neighborhood. And it was really nice to walk out today and see the parts that I could see anyway working properly and working effectively, and hopefully Amy's gonna back that up. I have no idea. But from what I could see, it was working the way it was supposed to. And I'm just very grateful for all the people that it took 10 years to get that project to completion, but I feel really good about it. And especially to the voters at the end who gave their blessing to it. So I just say thank you to the voters.
All right. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
And we'll hear from Amy on if your observations are tracking what Amy thinks. Amy, thanks for joining us, Amy.
Sure, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I would share Susan's summary and then hope to give you a little bit more in-depth overview of it. It looks really great out there, and we'll see after the flood. Really, receipts, but for now, the project has performed as designed. And if I can, I'd share my screen, and hopefully this will work, just to give you a little overview of stuff. Only the host can share.
Okay.
Can that be changed?
Voila.
I've heard many similar comments from residents of East Middlebury commenting that it worked.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get it to work. Can you see am I all fuzzy?
Yeah, we've got a weird Zoom screen there.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
It's just loading.
Try one more thing.
So Amy, I'll make you the host, but don't forget to make me the host back.
But now I can't even get out of this, so, oh, there we go.
Dear.
Okay. Sorry. Is that working?
Not yet.
Did you do share screen?
Can't see my. Yeah, I did. Just a moment. One more try. Wait, the broadcast isn't working. Okay, I heard that. Wow, this was brilliant. I put the photos all together and no. Sorry about this. Well, we may have to reschedule
Oh.
the update. I thought it would be easier on Zoom to show my slides. Okay.
Is that something that you could email?
Slides, yeah, well, email right now. I'm gonna photos, let me find out. It's not that. Just, I want to do. Here we go, select board presentation.
Oh, neat.
Yay!
It's on.
Right, you can see the map?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to just do a reprise of generally of the project's overview, project site. And I'll go from upstream to downstream. So number 4 up on the right-hand side is the area behind the Welch's property. So just downstream of the Lower Plains Road Bridge. And the yellow line is the flood chute that we opened up there to increase storage capacity in that section of the project. And the next section down here in the trees is behind Goodrose, again, where we opened up flood capacity by removing material and kind of designing it so that when there were high flows, the channel would stay mostly in the main channel, but then as it hits the 10-year flood elevation, it would access the floodplain adjacent to, but also flood chutes that were opened up. And then the red line is the berm that runs from about Goodrose downstream to the town land, which is just west of the one box there over on the left-hand side of the picture. So the pictures I'll show you are going to go from upstream to downstream, and won't let me, bummer, won't let me show them as a show. Well, this is not going to work. Let me just, I'm not sure why that's not working. All right, I'll do a few highlights and then I will move it on. Can you see my screen now?
We're looking at, yeah, just people.
Oh, cool. All right, well, there you go. Trying new technology didn't work.
Is the share screen button at the bottom of your page?
This is not. Well, I'm going to have to email these to you and say I'm very sorry for the technology glitch because it isn't working the way it should be. And I don't want to waste your time. Sorry.
Rats.
I have a question, Amy. Did the flood chutes work? Are the flood chutes full of water?
They are, they're full of water. I went out yesterday afternoon and it was raging behind my house at about 5:30. I was out of town, so right.
Everything looked really solid.
And fun.
And fun. Yeah. I know. I'm disappointed that overlaps my hosting of a family reunion.
We heard.
So,
Several other things going on, but yes.
yeah,
We're
but
excited to.
that's great.
We'll be right, after the downtown block party. And we have a golf event at Middlebury College. So we've got alumni coming in. The college has been very generous and allowing us for tea times right past. I think we're up to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We've got 4 other evening events that separate classes are coming in, doing their own readings, including the class of 83. Thank you for your shirt tonight, by the way. And we're excited just to, as we've all seen in the last few days, we can't predict the weather, and the concern of a potential outdoor event just seems a little too risky this year. Due to heat and everything else.
Mm.
That's why we're here tonight to ask for your support.
Motion? I would entertain a motion to approve.
Yep, we did it.
You have to be creative in your own right on this one.
Oh, Andy's the only creative person we have.
I move the approval of the public assemblage permit for the Middlebury Tiger Reunion on July 29th.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes. Hope we get a good turnout.
We've got a lot of ticket sales already. People are really excited.
Great.
And, if we get a chance, I'll leave it with Kathy, with Sarah. We had created a webpage, and we've got our sponsorships on it, and we've got a Facebook page. So I'll leave the links for you if you are interested in seeing what else we have going on. We're excited to bring everybody back to town. And it is International Tiger Day, so we are doing that. Dan McIntosh has bought tigers, so he has got stickers, and we're going to try to do something with finding the tiger around town on Saturday afternoon before the big event. So, and bring people downtown.
Tiger Pride.
Joe
There you
Exotic.
go. It hasn't left town yet.
None of us graduated from there except for him. Only him.
Thank you again.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Hometown boy right there.
What?
I said the hometown boy.
Oh, hometown boy. I love Tiger
The
Pride.
rest of us are not.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Oh, it's in my blood.
Yep.
Can't help it. Okay. No other hands up? Then we're going to look for
There she is.
Emily. Oh, she's up. There we is. Good evening, Emily.
Here. Hi.
Aye.
So the first item is the asset management plan. which we've looked at a few times. I sent it to the state as part of the process, but essentially, Aldridge and Elliott has a proposal for us, which the state has now approved. So the next step is getting select board approval before we can start working on it, but it will be asset management plan for the water system, and it will also go into like capital projects, like creating a 10-year plan for projects moving forward. Risk assessment, there's a number of components that are involved in it. And it qualifies for state revolving fund. It also, once it's complete, it increases our scoring for other state revolving fund projects such as Chip and Hill Water Tank. And so it will greatly help the water program, the water department, and get funding moving forward.
And so Emily, just to answer my silly questions, these assets are things like the culverts and roads that the town owns, or is it more?
Not culverts and roads, it's specific to water.
Okay,
So.
everything involved in our,
Water line.
yeah, very good.
Exactly, yeah.
From the well fields to the handoff to the residence or business line.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Excellent.
Any other questions?
The funding that we qualify for from the state, it's all forgivable, up to 50,000, and our quote came in under that, so we pay up front, but it all gets forgiven in the long run.
So now that the state has approved the draft proposed asset management plan, I move to approve the proposed agreement between the town and Aldridge and Elliott to establish an asset management plan for the town's water system for a cost of $38,400.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Awesome.
Then our next item, also on the water topic, is the funding for the final design of the additional water tank on Chipman Hill. Through the same funding, the state revolving fund, the level 2 funding will pay for final design at no interest and no administrative fee on a 5-year repayment plan. And they will also forgive $17,360 of the $62,000 originally quoted. We did have, I think it was a month ago, we got approval for a change order for the water tank that adds an additional $5,300 to the overall design cost. And I need to circle back with the state, but I think we could probably get that rolled into this as well. But that's another step that we haven't made it to yet.
Questions?
And it's got a 0% interest rate and 0 administration fee. That's great.
And my understanding is it'll be refunded in the end anyways, right?
So with this one, the step 2 funds, they are 0 interest, 0 administrative fee for the 5 years in repayment. And then if it goes to construction, you can roll it into the level 3 funding, should we so choose to.
Okay.
Which then that does tack on a 2% typically administrative fee, but it also extends it to a 30-year span for payback.
So it's basically rolled into the construction loan. The outstanding amount is rolled into the construction loan after the 5 years, if you go to construction.
Okay.
So Emily, at this point, are they still looking at both the concrete and the glass fused, both options?
So I went to St. Albans today where they are putting up a concrete tank. I also have plans to go look at a glass fused to steel tank in the coming weeks. I have some reservations for the latter. Champlain Water District, South Burlington has 2 of them side by side, 1 of each side by side. And the glass fused one is being taken down to be replaced at a 30-year lifespan to be replaced with concrete
Okay.
because they had issues with subbase moving. The way the concrete is constructed, it's made to move a little bit more. The glass fused one is not as accommodating. So it gives me a little more reservation. We still have the engineer working on designing the specs to accommodate either. And we will, even if we only go with the concrete, I know there's 2 vendors that would be bidding, so it wouldn't, we would have multiple bids still to look at, so, which was part of my concern. But I do have reservations with glass fused steel.
Gotcha.
And it was also, St. Albans has one of each where they're constructing this concrete one. All of the bolt holes in that glass fused to steel, those are all maintenance concerns down the road. So I'm getting a life cycle analysis done for the concrete tank. I have a feeling that even if the upfront cost is slightly less on the glass fused to steel, the long-term cost and the lifespan might push us in the other direction.
Sure. Thanks for the update.
Good question. Any other questions? Pleasure of the board.
I'll move to approve the loan agreement with Vermont Municipal Bond Bank for a loan in the amount of $62,000 from the Vermont State Revolving Fund to support the final design of additional water tank on Chipman Hill.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Emily.
Thank you.
Chief Shaw. Tiger Pride, buddy.
Quarterback to defensive halfback.
Wow.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for your time this evening. I'm here for our annual turnout gear replacement program. This year, we're requesting 6 sets for a total of $18,089.14, and looking for sole source provider of Bergeron protective equipment out of New Hampshire. Again, this company far exceeds others in the fact that they can repair turnout gear, and that extends the life of our turnout gear and allows us to cycle some of that stuff that's slightly out of compliance to members that are exterior firefighters. Stretch the dollar as far as we can.
Questions?
They're staying off that bond. It was an interesting mix. I know through the rent and the owners and stuff like that, that there are, but directly out of their pocket comes, and there's a lot of property owners that can't vote. So it'll be interesting.
But I should add that one of the questions that they did ask in Pearson was, are you a property owner or are you a renter? So they have that
Great.
cross tabulation. I don't know what you call it. I'm not a big statistics person or survey person. But they were able to say of property owners and of renters, here's what percent voted which way.
Be interesting. I think it'd be an interesting thing to do.
That was broken out in their demographics of
Great.
their result, and I think, well, we'll take a closer look at what they did, and if we think this is a good way to go, we'll come back to you and ask you about that. So one thing I did want to point out is that I believe included in your packet was a draft of an early version of our design goals, which is a document that we're really using to evaluate these conceptual designs. The final version is contained in the larger packet. It starts on page 18. And basically, we're going to be looking at these conceptual designs with an eye to the extent that they meet the design pillars that we were looking for in terms of welcoming, accessible, safe, sustainable, and so on. Looking at cost considerations, to what extent does it look like this is within the ballpark of what we were thinking. We're concerned about the historic preservation aspect of things because it is a historic building. We're particularly concerned about the extent to which it meets the program. Does it do what we really need it to do? And Dana and the staff are going to work quite closely with that And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking at how these teams communicate with us in their presentations. So, anything else?
I think so. I'm just dying to talk to people about it. And it's 100% confidential, and we haven't had an Ilsley 100 meeting yet, and it's just driving me crazy. So,
So is a reminder of something I try to continuously think about is we've got these conceptual designs, but to me, the most important thing is that we hire the right company to do the project. So it's not only looking at a design, which you could be over, just think of this as the greatest design, but we have to think about the company. Also, we have to remember this is the RFQ process. This is not the RFP process. It is conceivable that we're picking somebody to ask them to respond to an RFP. We could pick two, or we could pick all three of them to respond to an RFP. Is that correct?
That is technically and conceivably correct,
Yes.
but I don't think it would be. Yeah, so
I agree.
I don't think it would be helpful
It'd be nice if we could
to
ask-
start off with three and end up with three.
yeah.
I think we're hoping to narrow things down a little bit.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but this is just the qualifications. We're picking companies that are qualified to do this.
It's a big
We're not
job.
offering a contract.
And we're particularly looking to see how they interact with
Yes.
with the public on that August 9th meeting. And hopefully we'll have opportunities for the architect teams to really interact with the public and answer questions. And hopefully all of us can kind of keep an eye out on what those interactions look like and how the public responds to how they interact with all of us.
Because, it's partly a sales job, right? We've got to convince the public that this is really something that we need and it's going to benefit the town. So,
And they all noted in their proposals that usually this process comes after a long deliberative process with the community. And so they felt like they were at a slight disadvantage to just use all of our materials that we've been doing without having really big conversations with the community.
which they are, because, we sort of said, look, here's what we have in mind. Go come back with your vision, but you can't really interact with us. So, but that'll be
And that's
the
why
next step.
it's conceptual, and I think that's the missing link that will happen after we choose one.
If we're able to stick to our timeline, we hope to come to you at your August 22nd meeting with the recommendation for the RFP for a firm or firms to whom we could proceed to the next step.
This is a really exciting time for the committee. I think this is really fun. They've worked really hard, and Joe's and Dana's leadership has been great to get us this far, and it's going to be a really busy month for the team and the community, hopefully.
I would just like to shout out all the social media. I think it's really accessible, and I think it is very straightforward with goals and avenues to kind of get that information out.
Thank you, Izzy. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Any other questions? Thank you all.
Yeah.
Look forward to the presentation.
Yeah.
Apparently it's on the same night as the demo derby. So
One of the
I just put it on my calendar. I was like, oh, that's field days.
we looked really hard. It was about the only night we could get the town hall theater because they're booked, so.
Could you put up a tent at Field Day?
We'll be
Okay.
present at Field Days. The
Okay.
library will have a booth at Field Days in the, home,
in the Buckhead building.
The exhibitors, yeah.
we'll be exhibiting there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you could say, come to our event tonight.
It's
Not
right.
demo derby.
What we should really probably do is sponsor a car.
Yeah.
Yes!
In the derby. That's
Oh my
probably what we
gosh,
do,
that'd be so funny.
And it would be like the demolition of the old part of the library. You could win the chance to come in with a sledgehammer and
Would that be a demo car or something?
demo library. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, I like
I
all this.
think
I'm
that
sure
would-
you could get somebody to put that on the side of their vehicle.
You could. You could. I think that's a great idea that you should actually take.
Izzy will
this
ask
seriously.
all her friends who are going to be in the demo.
Yeah,
derby.
yeah.
The Ilsley
We'll get this
Library.
done. We will make
number-
this happen.
You help us with that, Izzy.
Oh, the bookmobile.
I'll be at
The
the next meeting.
bookmobile, the bookmobile. There we go. Dana, anything on your end? All right.
I put a time on my calendar later this week to swing into David's office and take a look at the,
It's even been hard for us to just look at the digital
Yeah, the
copies.
PDF.
Yeah.
These are 3 foot by 2 foot thing, and we're trying to look at them
Yeah,
on,
on your-
on the laptop, and like I'm seeing this.
I'm like
bit,
zooming.
this bit, but,
Trying to
Did
make it work.
did
Yeah.
any, was one of the questions what you would do if you had a smaller budget or anything, or would that be?
That's one of the questions that John Frieden is planning to ask, I'm sure, at the August 9th meeting. You know, we'll be coming up with a list of questions that we'll ask everybody at their, at their interview. I suspect that'll be
Some
one
of
of them.
Some of them address phasing, doing it in
Okay.
sections.
So that is addressed in some of their
Mhm.
proposals.
So we as a project team are having 2 hours with each team
Nice.
in meeting.
Yeah.
So, and I know we're going to have standard questions to ask each one of them.
We'll make sure that's one of them.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, I think that also, I think they speak to that a little bit. Amy was saying they all were feeling that they missed out on that community conversation aspect. They can kind of build to the community's desires. And I think they were all able to build to whatever budget we gave them. They worked with 15 million because that's what we got for the scope of the project as it stands now. And I think any of them would be able to work.
But you will recall that in 2017, when the proposal came to the select board, there was quite a bit of sticker shock, And one of the things they've submitted budgets. This is what we think it would cost for the different parts of it. So we're going to be very cost aware.
Great.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Is Jeremy on there?
Is?
And Aaron, nice.
Hi, Jeremy. Can't see, well, can hear you, but can't see you yet. We're doing well. There, now you're in with us.
Nice.
Okay, so your grant request.
Yes, sir. We kind of filled in the rest of the narrative for everybody to read. Would you like me to read what we've written down here, or I'm not sure what you guys have seen?
Jeremy, it would be great if you gave us the 20,000-foot view of your application and the bottom line of the grant request.
Yeah, so as I spoke in the last meeting, and maximize what we can do at this facility. So I agree, there should be, your time is important to account for.
Particularly, there will be some legal expenses associated with the agreements and such. If we could get reimbursed for that, that would be helpful.
Okay.
I think this is great. Yeah. Good.
So the motion will be the same or will be amended?
The motion would be the same, and in the process, Kathleen would work out for reimbursement for our expenses.
So I'll move to authorize the town manager to submit an ARPA pretreatment grant application to the state of Vermont on behalf of Whistlepig Whiskey. And if approved by the state, I authorize the town to administer the grant in coordination with Whistlepig.
Second.
Moving seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. There's only 5, my ears are hearing 5, no opposed. Okay. Well,
Excellent.
thanks, Jeremy, appreciate it. Let's hope you get it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your time, and we'll stay in touch.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Communal pen.
Should have like the bank with the chain to the desk.
Okay, nice. Oh, see Aaron there, good.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Aaron. So you probably saw what we went through with Jeremy there. If you could do the same, give us that 1,000-foot view and what you're asking for would be great.
Yep, so, very similar, the same grant application. And ours is a little bit bigger at $716,000. Most of that is in equipment to basically replace an existing treatment system, the same technology, old unit, not sized appropriately for our facility, and upsize it so that it is. So we're trying to keep this streamlined and simple so that it's not a lot of construction, it's not a lot of complicated studies, engineering, that kind of thing. And what we're proposing to do is take a unit that is currently sized at around 220 gallons per minute and replace it with a larger unit that will run about 400 gallons a minute. We're also proposing to install a tank that would be larger, that would be sized to hold 24 hours of sludge or wastewater, DAF, dissolved air flotation float, which is the sort of the concentrate that comes off of the treatment process. Just so that we have, if we didn't replace that or upsize it, we'd be down to potentially less than 12 hours of full time. So that is not, it's not really it wouldn't be workable under certain conditions. I will say that this project, I think, whether it's existing conditions or potentially these future conditions with a larger unit, it has a lot of synergy with the Purpose Energy Digester project, which is currently under construction in the industrial park over by the treatment plant, the town's treatment plant. And that is going to have, we're actually going to be connected to that facility via a pumped pipeline. And we have a feedstock agreement in place for this material. So we have an outlet for this material. And so I think not only will it benefit the town in the sense that we'll be able to treat to a higher level, especially during times of higher flows, which is also typically associated with the highest loadings. So, but we will also be benefiting some of the state's goals around renewable energy, because the state is basically, the PUC is basically taking credit for every kilowatt that's being created out of that project. And there's also potentially in the future, I don't believe this is in phase 1, but a renewable heat component to that project as well. So all this to say that we have an outlet for the increased waste that we're generating that's economical in nature. So I think it all kind of fits together well. And the administrative fees, one of the nice things about this grant, at least in theory, we'll see when the awards come out. If they're doing a lot of partial awards, I don't know how things will shake out. But in theory, if there was a full award, one of the nice things about this grant is they're covering administrative costs, including engineering and including administrative fees for the grantee, who in this case will be the town of Middlebury. So I believe in that grant application from Whistlepig, that $12,000 is basically for the town of Middlebury, for the town of Middlebury. So I believe that's already worked into that grant application, or at least it will be, when all things are said and done, because the grants are not filed yet, obviously. That'll be, I think they're due by the 21st. So in theory, these grants are like really, really favorable because they can cover up to 100% of the cost of the project. They'll cover your engineering costs. They'll cover the town's administrative costs. It's kind of a win-win situation. And for us, it's a really expensive piece of equipment, and it's replacing a not at end of life piece of equipment. So it would be really difficult for us to go to our board and be like, this is a really good project. You know what I mean? Versus if the federal government or the state through ARPA is going to fund this for us, it could be a great project. It really could benefit us long term because as we grow and if we ever have increased wastewater flows, we don't need to go back to the town and ask for more allocation, which means other people can use that allocation. Other potential industrial users or more residential users of the college or whoever can utilize that space that's available at the municipal treatment plant, which is a critical component to any kind of development in the future. So this will set Agrimark up well to hit our permit targets, enable the town to hit their permit targets, and set us up well for the future growth of both the town and the Agrimark creamery.
Amazing.
Good presentation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question, and it's a matter of numbers, and I'm probably not understanding the project. You discharge an average of 386 gallons per day, and part of your proposal is to install a 20,000 gallon tank which could capture 24 hours of discharge. 20,000.
I can explain that.
Okay.
So the facility discharges 386,000 gallons per day of wastewater to the municipal treatment plant. Of that, a certain portion of it, in this case, a maximum of like 70 something percent can be run through this treatment unit.
Can be or doesn't?
Can be.
Okay.
So it depends on a number of factors, but so it doesn't always run 24 hours, but that unit is then floating material out of that volume. So, and then capturing, it's actually scraping that off the top. So you're capturing only, a very small percentage of that flow. So maybe say, I don't want to do math on the fly here, but so if we're running it for 24 hours, say we're capturing 4,000 to 6,000 gallons of concentrated wastewater. You know what I mean? Like that's the material that we're pulling out of the wastewater, so that we're sending cleaner effluent to Middlebury, and that's why the sizing is, quite a bit less for a 24-hour retention time.
And what you scrape off of the top is what you treat, and the other is just sent straight in to the plant.
Well, the stuff that we scrape off the top, I mean, if you were to look at it, it looks like fluffy, oily, solids that come off of dairy processing. And we will be sending that to Purpose Energy to the anaerobic digester, where it will then get further broken down and take that material and actually turn it into renewable power. So does that make sense?
Yes, but where does it go now?
It's going to, most of it's actually going to Vanguard, who run a digester down in Salisbury, Goodrich Dairy Farm.
Okay.
But it also goes to manure pits when that's not available, so it's going to manure pits and it's going to Salisbury digester.
Okay. Got it. Now I understand.
So it's not.
You guys are smiling because you know the dairy industry, and I don't.
It's all right.
I drink milk. I drink almond milk. Almond.
Well, one of the things that was so good about getting the Goodrich project going down there.
Yeah.
That and the food waste that they're taking.
These positions are important to
They've
us.
taken quite a few of our materials.
Congratulations on getting this application together so quickly.
Thank you. It's not quite done yet, but we are almost there. I think finishing touches on and send it over to the town of Middlebury for final review and send off.
Any other questions? If not, a pleasure of the board on this request.
Okay, I'll move to authorize the
Good.
town manager to submit an ARPA pretreatment grant application to the state of Vermont on behalf of Agrimat Cabot, and if approved by the state, I authorize the town to administer the grant in coordination with Agrimat Cabot.
I second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations, Aaron. Wishing you luck on this.
Well, thank you all. We'll see how it turns out. And if we get the award, we will circle back and hopefully have a successful project.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Aaron.
And with that, we go to Kathleen about our policy review committee.
So following up on our June 13th meeting where we discussed the reinstating the policy review committee, we're back with you with a request to appoint its members, Donna Donahue and Gary Baker, residents of the town of Middlebury who formerly served on the select board and in various other capacities in the town have expressed their willingness to continue to serve on the policy review committee, as have Andy and Isabel. Let's go. And I'm pleased that they're excited about policy.
These just grew an inch.
So that is our request, and as we said in our in David's May 25th memo to you, the original intent of this committee was to conduct a full review of existing town policies. This initial responsibility will continue, although the reviews be focused on policies specifically recommended by the select board for further consideration, as opposed to another wholesale review of all town policies. In addition to this, the committee will also serve as an initial forum for prospective public policy and public procedure ideas and concerns raised by select board members and can initially be considered in further detail. Where necessary, the committee and assigned town staff will conduct research to better understand how a proposed idea may impact both town government and the broader community, and how the particular matter has been addressed in other communities.
Amazing.
So this will be a 4-member committee?
Yes.
Okay. But David's going to be part of this? Or? Okay.
Yes.
So, but
And
he won't be,
he'll be the staff person, and Beth will also be joining in.
didn't we had this with Chris English before? Policy review?
Yes.
And Victor was on it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the makeup of that committee. We got a historian, an administrator, an educator, an attorney.
And Andy.
That was good. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. We're not sure the title there.
Good. Any questions or thoughts on that?
I think it's great that we're bringing it back up again. We just talked about the ARPA funding thing, and this committee can look into that administrative fee and all those things. And
Right.
we can get back on track.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think come up in this body and need folks to dig into and come back together to discuss.
Perhaps the first thing they can look into is administration of fees for overseeing grants, right?
Yeah, and we could,
And we've been through this, like Lindell, they applied for a grant, we applied for them, right? There was a lot of work we do.
We do it regularly.
Yeah.
Sure.
regular.
Yeah. Every year there's some.
Right.
Okay, pleasure of the board.
So I'll move to appoint Gary Baker and Donna Donahue to the Town of Middlebury's Policy Review Subcommittee, each to a one-year term.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also move to appoint Select Board members Isabel Gogardi and Andy Hooper to serve as members of the Town of Middlebury's Policy Review Subcommittee.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. You guys.
You guys are so nice.
Aw.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, now, we do need to be thinking about direction and specific assignments for this subcommittee. So maybe we allow them to give us some proposals of things that they would like to see. As I know Andy and Isabel have got lots of thoughts on that. That's why they volunteered.
Yeah.
Who's got check warrants tonight?
Me.
All right.
I move to approve total expenditures in the amount of $463,867.16, consisting of $330,824.08 for accounts payable and $133,043.08 for payroll for the period of June 28th, 2023 through July 11th, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Nobody wants to do anything.
They're a little sleepy on the switch
Not
tonight.
sleepy, just missing the two people that make all the nominations in the seconds. That's the problem. Gotten gun shy.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Board member concerns.
I would like to recognize that Betty Nuovo died this past week and was buried this weekend, and recognize everything that she's done for this community over the years, 30 plus years in the legislature, an attorney, and you know, leaving Victor behind, who was one of a select board member and a great citizen of the community, who's very lonely right now and by himself, and but a great couple. And I think if they had a Hall of Fame for husbands, I think my nomination for the year would be Victor. I mean, he's just been unbelievable, and we had breakfast with him this morning, and it was really good to talk to him. The other thing I'd like to do is recognize the fact that what's going on in the state, and our many of our select boards are going to be really busy with business that they didn't anticipate, and the citizens of the state, and for recognizing Chief Shaw and his great guys, and finally getting the opportunity to, which is something they weren't wanting to do, but to use their swift boat training and rescue capabilities that we have here in town. So that's what I have.
Thanks, Dan. Isabel.
Yeah, I wanted to send my condolences to the Rutland Police Department for the loss of one of their newest members, and also just highlight all of the work that our police department has been doing over the past couple weeks since our last meeting, and just highlight the work that they've done.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll second what Dan said about Victor and Betty. There's a beautiful piece that was written by Swift House in 5 Things We Love About Betty. It was so beautiful. It just captures everything about her. I saw Victor this morning for breakfast, and my heart goes out to him. For a couple to live like 60 plus years together and losing, and he's one of the most loving person, holding hands with her all the time. It was so cute. the floods, I hope everybody's safe. There's so much damage, so many people are cut off. Ludlow is still, roads are closed, I heard. So I hope everybody stays safe and hope for the best. I sprung about 5 leaks in my store today. Library had 5, so I had to match with them. But the rain is so much, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. It was amazing watching the national news tonight. It was, the opening was Vermont.
Yeah.
It was like the storm only hit Vermont. They had incredible footage, even though our local stations have been on all day. The national just got some fabulous footage. So, unbelievable. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, having lived in Montpelier during Irene, Montpelier was basically spared. It was the Dog River that brought all the rain, all the water in, and so Waterbury got hammered, and Montpelier got some water from that one. But this one, just a little bit farther north, and such a different outcome. Yeah, my heart goes out to my friends and neighbors in the communities that really bore the brunt of this.
This is ice jam volume.
Oh my God, it's crazy. The Wrightsville Reservoir, which they released water from around noontime today, normally you look at it when you're out paddling or whatever on the reservoir there, and it is just this huge wall, like 20 plus feet above where the water is. And you're like, oh, why'd they build it so big? That's ridiculous. And it was within a foot of the top for the first time in construction, in the 100 years almost that's existed.
Did it get up to a foot?
It was within a foot.
Last I had heard it was like 5 feet.
Yeah, it was 6 like at 9 a.m. and it was within a foot by noon.
It's back down to 2.
Yeah. Oh,
So how did your business do? I mean, your business is right on the bank there on a bend in the river.
The culvert that was supposed to keep the water away from my business plugged, and so.
Oh dear.
We were closed today. We were cleaning up. We're actually very blessed. It wasn't worse than it was. I had a tractor, some equipment that it could have been so much worse. So you look at what other people have and I can't complain.
Yeah, but you're sitting right on that river, right in the bend
yeah.
too. That thing had to be smashing there.
Yeah, we spent, I don't know, it's almost $200,000 in stormwater work in the last couple of years, and I guess it paid off. So in 2011, it wiped that business out. And,
Mhm.
I see there's so many requests on Facebook and from Porsche. People are looking for sump pumps
Mm.
to drain their basements.
yeah, I was in the hardware store getting a couple things last night on my way home, and somebody's in there buying sump pumps. They said, "Oh, your basement's flooded." "Oh, no, it's not yet, but I know if it does flood, the pumps will be sold out." So they were anticipating. Good thinking. Did you have anything else?
That's enough, I think.
Yeah. So we do have, for those that are watching, if you do have to travel, a lot of my staff didn't know is 511. If you go on and just do 511 New England, and you can do a map, and it'll show, you can map your route. It'll map it for you, and it'll show you any road closures. And so if you want to be safe, if you're planning to go somewhere, just take a look, and you'll know what roads are closed ahead of time. So if you do a little bit of prior planning, it can still go smooth. With that, can you take us into?
No, I
executive
sure
session?
can. Yeah. There we go. What's it for?
This will be for personnel.
Okay. In accordance with Vermont's open meeting law requirements, I move that the board find the premature general knowledge of any consideration of personnel matters would clearly place the select board at a substantial disadvantage because the select board risks disclosing its strategy.
person.
for negotiating personnel matters if it discusses it in public.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I further move that the board enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are in closed session.